Hey gang, Ronan here. As you can see in this game, we've got Habit Tiger playing the Tier 8 Pan-European destroyer Öland. This is a favorite of mine and I believe a favorite of his. Um, it's a really fun ship to play. If you haven't played that destroyer line, I highly recommend it. I've taken a look at the matchmaking. Well, there's no CV, that's always a big plus. There is a submarine on each team. U-69 playing for the bad guys, and Kashalov or Kashalat playing for the good guys. Plenty of threats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 destroyers on each team. Kagero outspots Öland by quite a bit. Z39, I think, is probably right around the same, probably within 100 or 2 meters in terms of detection radius. Fubuki is pretty good, not quite as good as Kagero if memory serves, but still very good. So I would say 4 of the 5 detection threats, 4 of the 5 torpedo boats on the enemy team are detection threats, and one of them is a potential detection threat. All right, so our hero has decided to head for the Alpha Cap. Got 2 Akazukis on the far side at the Delta Cap, and presumably, since the 2 of them are in a division together, they're going to work as a team. One of them smoking, one of them either spotting or making use of the second player's smoke, and then they can take turns as long as there's somebody else that's close enough to spot the bad guys. Now, what can I tell you about Öland? Well, you can see that the gun range is 12.1 kilometers. You can see that on the mini-map. It's a red circle around the ship, and then there's a blue circle around the ship that is sitting at 12 kilometers. They're so close together that it almost looks like one purple circle. And we've got an Icarus and a Fubuki on the good guys team, but they're both sitting broadside to the likely approach of torpedoes, which is questionable and certainly something I would be a little concerned about. Now, Habit Tiger is going to get some torpedoes out on the Kagero here, so if Kagero doesn't change his direction or speed, he might eat a face full of torpedoes. But he has. He's turning out, smoking up. Dangerous place to shoot, especially if you go nose into the island. Oh, that's scary, especially when you get a hipper right on your tail.
Torpedoes astern.
Hipper is otherwise engaged. Thank goodness. And now our hero gets behind an island, but Z39 still has him spotted, and the Hipper shells have a pretty flat trajectory, so probably he won't shoot over this island. You know, another reason that the Hipper might choose a different target is that Öland has a heel. Putting some shells now on the Hipper. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ships able to fire on the Hipper. That's a heck of a YOLO charge by the Hipper, and the Cachalot is just pushing right at him. Now, if I think the Cachalot is a little close to the Hawkins to surface, but the Bayern is in the cap now. Meanwhile, at Delta Cap, the bad guys did secure the cap and took out one of the Akazukis. Now, I wasn't paying any attention to how that happened, but maybe you'll wind it back and take a look. I expected those 2 to be in the game for a long time. Oh, Kagero. Yeah, bad move. Push into an Öland and then stall against an island. Yeah, that's dangerous. Have a Tiger just kind of casually weaves in between the islands, full broadside, or between the torpedoes. Not worried at all. He knows the ship like the back of his hand. If you're curious, take a look. Habit Tiger's got a lot of games in this ship, and I don't blame him. It's a really fun ship to play. There's the Kagero. Now, Kagero has got all his guns able to come to bear. Oh, and there is a sub. Okay, so now this was the main thing, I think, that Habit wanted me to take a look at. Okay, so he's got, as he says, he's got this sub dead to rights. Wow, that's, I have to say, he's right. That is pretty pathetic. So what am I talking about when I say that's pathetic? Well, he put a whole bunch of depth charges in the water, right? And you can see in the upper right-hand corner next to the damage total, he landed 7 of those on that submarine. Each one of them did 660 HP. That's it. Now, I don't care who you are. Somebody in a destroyer that literally rolls right over the top of the submarine has every right to expect that it's going to do more damage than that.
Enemy destroyer sunk.
Now, I don't know whether or not Wargaming in their infinite wisdom have decided to reduce the amount of damage that subs take, or whether it's giving them some kind of damage resistance, something similar maybe to like the French destroyer line, or just exactly what the issue was there. But seriously, 7 depth charge hits, 660 damage per hit. And the submarine still had roughly half of its HP left. Absolutely ludicrous. I mean, the word's probably overused, but it is. It's ludicrous. The way Wargaming keeps making their player base test things that are really not ready for testing, let alone for the live server, it just boggles my mind. Yeah, it's just a different version of what they did with CVs, I guess. But anyway, really well done. Habit Tiger, the way that you managed to not get blapped and avoid torpedoes, and despite the fact that it didn't do a whole lot of damage, you were able to put 7 depth charges on that submarine and then gun him down. So, you know, one of the kills is yours, but still, you know, either way, you contributed to sinking an enemy destroyer and also an enemy sub. And now I'm moving outside, and we'll see whether or not Icarus is able to pick up a sub. You can see the last known position marker of the U-69. Oh, detected. So this U-69 should be right here. There he is. And Massachusetts secondaries finished the job. Now, look at the range that sub was to this destroyer. There's so many things that I was tempted to use the word that are wrong with the current iteration of subs in this game. Let's just set aside the argument that subs don't have a place in this game. And I realize there's an argument to be made there. But 660 damage per depth charge. And they can get incredibly close. Not only can they get incredibly close, they can get incredibly close and then just dive right under you and then come back up just as soon as they can tell that you're no longer in range of their detection radius. I won't claim to have any answers about what needs to be done, and I'm not going to make I won't make the contention that subs just need to be eliminated from the game or all that. Wargaming have made it 100% crystal clear that there's no way that they're going to not have subs in this game going forward. This is exactly what happened with this quote-unquote CV rework, which was really all about, as Flamu made abundantly clear, and he was among others, really was all about reworking CVs to get more people playing them, basically making them a little bit easier to use so more people would play them, so that Wargaming would have more of an opportunity to sell premium ships, CVs. And I think they're going to do the same thing with subs. Their interest isn't as much game balance, in my opinion, as it is getting a lot of people playing subs so they can then sell premium subs, because there's a lot of profit to be made there. Now, I'm not making the argument that Wargaming don't care about balance at all. I don't believe that's true. I just think that is a secondary concern to selling premium ships, and that they're willing to force a round peg into a square hole. Nicely done. That was a great drop. In order to accomplish that. Well, this game's all but over, and I realize that more than anything, all you've heard me talk about it. Basically, I've just been complaining. But Habit Tiger sent this thing to me, and he was kind of incredulous about. Look at this. I had this sub dead to rights. I dropped depth charges all around him, landed 7 of them, and he, if I hadn't had help or wasn't able to get guns on him, he would have just run off and hid and been able to do the whole thing all over again. There is something fundamentally broken about that, in my opinion, and I know in Habit Tiger's opinion. What do you think? How do you feel about the current iteration of subs, the way that they've been rolled into the game this time? I don't like them. I mean, obviously, you could probably tell that from my comments, but it's not just I don't think they should be in the game. If they're going to be in the game, and again, Wargaming have made clear that's going to happen, then they need to make sense. Thanks a lot for joining me. I'll see you next time.